This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com. Robert wants to know, in your time of being an agent in the WWE, what was your favorite tag match you saw? And what was your favorite match that you helped put together? It's a two-part question there to unpack. And I know you've referenced some tremendous matches that you saw with, I think it was the Revival, and they were taking on
Bobby Roode.
Yes.
And Gable.
But that was not televised, right? That was a European tour, maybe.
House shows, live events in the States.
What about actual stuff that we could go back and look up, whether it was Raw or SmackDown or pay-per-views? Does a tag match stand out to you in particular? I hate to put you on the spot. I know with proper time, you could probably make a list, but right off the cuff, does one come to mind?
There was it was Randy and Edge, Cena and Shawn Michaels.
How's it going?
Way back there, they tore the joint down. They literally did. They had enough time. Randy and Edge were fantastic heel team. Cena sold, gave Shawn the tag, and you know how it went from there. It just got better and better, and they had enough time. It was incredible.
Arn, I don't know if you've seen, but we've just debuted a new series on adfreeshows.com. It's called X-Ray with Dr. Tom. And what we've got Tom doing is going back and watching one classic match from wrestling history. And he's breaking down exactly what they were doing and why they were doing it. The idea being, we as fans, we all have our favorite matches, but what we don't know is why was it our favorite? So to get to pick the brain of one of the most prolific trainers ever, I mean, the guy who trained Kurt Angle, the guy who trained The Rock, hell, the guy who trained Vince McMahon, and his
don't hold that against him.
Oh, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, Vince could have literally called anyone and said, "Hey, teach me a few things." And he picked Dr. Tom. So he's in great company there, and to sort of break down the psychology of a match and the mechanics of a match and learn how match structure works and all of that stuff. Tom Pritchard is probably one of the short list guys you'd want to go to for that type of stuff, right?
Yeah, and everybody that's trained under him, that whole group, you know, from Bray Wyatt to Slater to Hennig, that whole generation of guys that trained under Tom, and they have nothing but admiration for the guy and respect, and they all say, "I love Dr. Tom."
Dr. Tom is the man, and it's a video series at adfreeshows.com. Let's keep, we talk about the war game structure. Another one that's a famous gimmick match that everybody loves. This one comes to us from Big Extra. Hey, Arn, have you ever been the agent for a Royal Rumble match? If so, what goes into laying out the Rumble match itself, and what are the agent's roles for that match?
Well, an hour's a long time to watch a match, and people feeding down. You got to be careful that you separate your surprises from your superstars, and you're going to have your day-to-day talent that need to be in there too, that have earned the right to be in the Rumble. Certainly the prize, the main event of WrestleMania, makes everybody that comes through the curtain special, because it could literally be anybody. And the key is not to have the ring too full at any one time. Figure out what 4 or 5 guys you're going to feature and come up with something and scatter it through that match to where you have some really big explosions and a roller coaster ride where you really feature some talent and some eliminations. Because, eliminations at the Royal Rumble, I think Kane had the record, or it might have moved on to someone else, but I think he had it for a long time. That's something you walk away with if you don't win the match, but you had 9 eliminations or something. It's something you can hang your hat on going forward.
Fantasy booking question here. How would you structure or a finish for a War Games match between the Horsemen and DX with China on the outside? That's sort of an interesting thing to fantasy book, because lots of people have brought in their own version of War Games. And we know historically, the heels are going to win the coin toss and Arn's going in first. Is there another rule of thumb to booking a War Games that you could share with us? I mean, we can forget the DX part of the fantasy question. I'm just wondering about the sort of go-tos and the staples that maybe we fans didn't recognize that you just thought was sort of obvious.
Well, we just happened on a formula the first time going in. I was the youngest guy on the team. I was the guy that was trying to create a legacy for myself, and I didn't mind working my ass off. Uh, and I guess I probably wore it on my sleeve, but man, I was thrilled to be there and to be in that mix of guys. I was floating on air, and I couldn't wait to get in that cage. Um, so it turned out that I started, and it was just, I knew my role. I knew I had to get those people in a brand new match under brand new circumstances, get them invested right away. And I figured out some things to do and to make that double cage special as far as trying to escape from one side to the other and catch a guy coming through the ropes to try to turn the advantage around. It just happened to work, so we just stuck with that formula. Any combination of good workers who are willing to bust their ass right out of the get-go, you could have that order any way that you wanted to organize it. If it was going to be DX with China, I would just make one thing for damn sure: she never made it in that cage. Getting your ass handed to you by that behemoth and nowhere to escape is not my idea of a good evening.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at savewithconrad.com.